The following is a short video on how transfers are handled within Counterpoint. The starting point for transfers from the main menu is to go to Inventory, Transfers. There are two styles of transfers that we will talk about today. The first style begins with transfer out and involves doing the full transfer out, posting that, and then transferring in that transfer. The second style is something called quick transfers, which is more of a single step to post the transfer. But to begin with, we will do the full version of transfers, which involves a transfer out and transfer in. From this menu, I will go to transfer out, and the starting point is transfer out enter. I will auto assign to begin this transfer, and I will select my location. In this case, I'm going from main to east. Once I've selected my from and to locations, there's a place on the main tab I can include some notes. They are not required, but I could include some notes. And then I would go over to my Lines tab. On the Lines tab, I'm simply going to select items that are transferring from one location to the other. In this case, I will just do a few quick sample items and a few practice quantities. Of course, for building a transfer, you would build as many items as you like. Once you have built your transfer out and reviewed it, then you can click Post, and that at that moment takes the inventory out of the sending location. You can view or print a copy of the transfer out form if you choose to, and this is a quick example of what the transfer out form looks like. You might include that with the shipment. At this point, that quantity on hand does not show up in the from location and does not show in the to location because it's assumed to be in transit. The second part of this transfer is for the receiving store to go to the transfer in, click transfer in, enter, and the starting point is to click select transfer. If there's multiple transfers in play, then they would select the one that they are receiving today. In this case, I am going to receive this one that we just created coming from main. I have a number of options when I'm coming in. In general, if you're not sure which options to choose from, the first choice in each of these boxes is usually considered the most common choice. And I'll show you what this looks like. I click OK, I go to my lines, and based on those selections we chose coming in, I have my items. Quantity expected is what the sending store sent. Quantity received, I have the option to type that in. So coming into the form, if we had deleted or defaulted to 0, then these would be zeros and the receiving store would type in those quantities. In my case, I defaulted to what was expected. So all I have to do is verify these. If everything looks good, then I'm ready to hit post. I can edit these. So even if the sending store said they were sending 4, if I find that I only have 3 in the transfer, I can enter what was actually received. In this case, I will match that what they sent is what I got, and when I'm ready, I click post. That completes the transfer. The items that were on that transfer, those quantities, are now reflected in my receiving location. With a second style of transfers called quick transfers, it's more of a one-stop shop to make that transfer. With a quick transfer, the sending store would go to quick transfers. They would go to quick transfers enter. They would select their item. In this case, I will pick on the golf umbrella, and I can pick my to location, in this case east, and I will tab down and put in a quantity, and I will say that I'm sending another 2. You can see on the far right there's a quantity available at the from location and a quantity at the to. Just to verify that, I have a chance to put in a reference, and if everything looks good here, I can go ahead and click post. You can see that with a quick transfer, it's very much more at a item level, where you might be just fixing a few items or doing a very, as the name implies, a very quick send a few items to a different store. If you are sending a whole pallet of items, chances are the full transfer is more likely the case of what you might use. That is a brief overview of using transfers within Counterpoint.